For as long as we've written history, we've also erased it. We're told civilization is young, that everything important began just a few thousand years ago. But here's the problem. Some of the oldest structures on Earth should not exist according to that timeline. Tonight we're going to talk about lost civilizations. Not myths, not aliens, but real evidence hiding in plain sight. And if this evidence is real, it means civilization didn't start once, it restarted. This is the Lost Civilizations Masterclass. What history books don't teach you. Most of us grew up with a simple story. First, humans wandered around as hunter-gatherers. Then, slowly, we invented farming. Villages became towns, towns became cities, and civilization climbed steadily upward. Straight to us. Sounds neat, sounds organized, sounds believable. But reality? Reality is messy. Civilizations rise and then they fall. They build impossible structures, then vanish. They leave fragments in the ground, myths in our stories, and questions that refuse to die. Here's the real reason this matters. If we've misunderstood the true age of civilization, then we've misunderstood ourselves. So, let's start with one site that should not exist. In modern-day Turkey sits a place called Göbekli Tepe. On the surface, it just looks like a pile of rocks. But buried underneath is something shocking. Massive stone pillars, carved animals, intricate symbols, a layout that suggests knowledge of astronomy and ritual. Archaeologists date Göbekli Tepe to around 12,000 years ago. That is thousands of years before the pyramids, thousands of years before Stonehenge. According to the official story, the people of that time were supposed to be simple, small bands of hunter-gatherers. No cities, no organized religion, no complex architecture. And yet, someone gathered these stones, someone carved them, someone transported and arranged them with purpose. So here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. Who taught supposedly primitive people how to build like this? Mainstream archaeology says, well, they just figured it out. Maybe. But Göbekli Tepe is not an isolated glitch. Across the world, we find a repeating pattern. Massive stone structures, perfectly fitted blocks, alignments with the sun, the moon, and specific stars. And we find this pattern in cultures that, on paper, never met. The pyramids of Egypt, the pyramids of Mesoamerica, the megalithic walls of Peru, the stone circles of Britain, the Moai statues of Easter Island, different continents, different languages, different myths, same obsession with stone, same obsession with the sky. Is that a coincidence? Or is there a secret origin story we're missing? Most history books say it's just convergent evolution, that humans everywhere just happen to come up with similar solutions. Big stones, tall monuments, sky alignments. But what if that neat explanation is hiding something bigger? What if knowledge once traveled much farther, much earlier than we think? Now let's talk about something even more uncomfortable. The memory of a disaster. Nearly every ancient culture has some version of a great flood myth. The Bible has Noah, Mesopotamia has Utnapishtim and the Epic of Gilgamesh. India has the story of Manu. Indigenous traditions across the Americas and beyond tell stories of waters that rose violently and wiped the world clean. We're told these are just stories, just metaphors, just myths. But what if they aren't? What if these are actually memories, distorted over time, yes, wrapped in symbolism, yes, but rooted in something real? Some scientists point to a period called the Younger Dryas. Roughly 12,000 years ago, the planet's climate suddenly shifted. Evidence suggests rapid melting, wild swings in temperature, and possible impacts from space. Imagine you were alive then. You see the sky burn, you see ice melt, you see oceans rise, your world ends. How would you describe that to your children? To their children? You wouldn't talk about climate systems and glacial melt. You would say there was a great flood, the world drowned, but a few survived. Here's a thought most people never consider. Civilization might not have started once. It might have restarted. If a global or near global disaster hit a young but advanced civilization, what would survive? Not the glass, not the metals, not the books, stone, stories and strange things buried where nobody expects them. Let's zoom back down to Earth for a moment. Off the coasts of India and Japan, divers have found structures that look suspiciously like ruins. Terraced formations, straight lines, right angles where nature doesn't usually make right angles. Some say they are natural formations. Others insist they are the remains of flooded cities from a time when sea levels were lower. We may never know for sure, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Every time we extend our tools a little deeper, better sonar, better mapping, better imaging, we find more anomalies on the ocean floor. More, that's weird. More, that shouldn't be there. And remember this, most of the ancient world we think we know is based on what has survived on land, but most of the planet is ocean. If any advanced coastal civilization existed before the last melt and flood, its cities are now underwater, hidden, out of sight. Now let's go back to land, to one of the biggest mysteries in plain sight. Think about the giant stone blocks in some ancient sites. Some weigh tens of tons. Some weigh hundreds of tons. At Baalbek in Lebanon, there's a stone estimated to weigh over 1,000 tons. Imagine trying to move that with ropes and wooden rollers. Most people never even ask how this was done. They just accept the answer. Slaves and ramps. They dragged it. Really? For every site? Every time? Here's why that explanation starts to sound weak. In many locations, the stones are not only huge, they are perfectly cut. The joints between them are so tight that you can't slide a sheet of paper in between. No mortar, no concrete, just stone locked to stone like a three-dimensional puzzle. We're talking about precision that sometimes rivals or even beats our modern construction in terms of raw stone fitting. So what's going on? One possibility is simple. We're underestimating ancient engineering. Given enough time, manpower, and obsession, humans can do incredible things. Another possibility is more radical, that at some point in the distant past, humans had access to techniques, tools, or knowledge that we don't fully understand today. Not lasers, not sci-fi anti-gravity, but a level of mastery over stone, leverage, and organization that we've lost. Think about that. A forgotten technology, a skill set that once existed on Earth, then vanished. We are used to thinking that technology only ever moves forward, that the present is always the peak. But history says otherwise. We've lost writing systems, we've lost languages, we've lost entire ways of building ships, we've lost knowledge about plants and medicines that ancient cultures understood deeply. Why wouldn't we also have lost techniques for working with stone, organizing labor, or reading the sky? Speaking of the sky, let's talk about ancient knowledge of the stars. Around the world, there are structures aligned with eerie precision to solstices, equinoxes, and specific stars or constellations. At some sites, light on a particular day of the year travels through a narrow opening and illuminates a single stone, a single carving, or a single symbol. That is not random. That is not an accident. To do this, you need patience. You need long-term observation. You need careful record keeping. We're told that ancient people stared at the sky because they were superstitious. Maybe they were, but they were also scientists in their own way. Night after night, year after year, generation after generation, they measured, they remembered, they encoded that information in myths, temples, legends, and stone. Most people think myths are just stories, but what if some myths are actually data? What if they are instruction manuals wrapped in narrative? Don't forget this constellation, don't forget this cycle, don't forget that once something terrible came from the sky. There is a secret hiding inside many of these stories. They don't just talk about gods and heroes, they talk about timing, they talk about cycles, they talk about destruction and renewal. It's as if ancient people were screaming across time. This happened once. It could happen again. Here's why you should remember. So where does this leave us? Does it mean there was a single, global, hyper-advanced Atlantis with flying cars and crystal weapons? Probably not. The truth is usually messier, more grounded, more human. A more realistic picture might look like this. Near the end of the last ice age, scattered pockets of humans reached surprisingly high levels of organization. Not smartphones, but sophisticated, capable of building large stone monuments, capable of long-distance travel by sea and river, capable of mapping the stars and predicting seasons with precision. Then, something happens. Climate chaos. Floods, perhaps even impacts from space. Coastal settlements vanish, populations crash. The survivors retreat inland, to higher ground, to caves, to places we now call cradles of civilization. They carry fragments of knowledge with them. How to farm, how to build, how to read the sky. Over generations, the story of what came before becomes a myth. Stories of a golden age, stories of gods who walked among humans, stories of teachers who arrived after a great flood and helped restart society. The real reason this possibility scares people is simple. If civilization can reset once, it can reset again. We like to think we are untouchable, that our technology makes us safe, but our cities sit on coasts, our power grids are fragile, our global systems depend on delicate chains that can be broken. Imagine the lights go out, not for an hour, not for a day, but for years. Who would remember how to build a microchip? Who would remember how to rebuild the internet? Who would remember the details of our entire digital world once our servers are silent? In a few centuries, what would survive? Concrete ruins, weird metal skeletons, plastic in the ground, stories. Future archaeologists might look at our remains and argue about what we were capable of. Some would say we were advanced. Others would say the evidence is overinterpreted. Sound familiar? So, no, this masterclass is not about proving a single wild theory. It's about something deeper. It's about humility. It's about admitting that our timeline might not be as clean as we think. It's about being honest that there are still mysteries in the ground, on the seafloor, and in the myths we tell our children. Most people will never question the story they were handed in school. Most people will never ask, what if there was more? But you are not most people. You're still here, listening, wondering. So the next time you see a picture of ancient ruins, ask yourself, are you looking at the beginning of civilization? Or the restart after a disaster we barely remember? The next time you hear a myth about a great flood, a golden age, or gods descending from the sky, ask yourself, is this just a story? Or is this what survival looks like when written in poetry instead of data? The story of lost civilizations might never be complete. We may always argue about dates, about stones, about what is possible. But one thing is certain, we are not the first humans to look up at the stars and wonder where we came from. We are not the first to build big, dream big, and believe that our world would last forever. The real secret of lost civilizations is not that they were aliens, it's that they were us. Human beings, brilliant, flawed, vulnerable. And if we're not careful, one day we might be the next lost civilization that someone else digs up and argues about. Until then, the ruins are still there, the myths are still speaking, and the truth is still waiting just beneath the surface.